you find adventure at the click of a button, or from the turn of a page, or the casting of a die? Join your hosts, Coniff and Shiloh, on an unforgettable journey. Questing the Multiverse.
That's you, Jordan.
Oh, is it? I couldn't tell. It was so quiet.
It's so quiet, and he's so. This is him, back to the mic.
Yeah,
we do it live.
Unlike the other day, that thunder was not quiet the other day. So I'm not sure, dear listener, you've heard, but I live in Omaha, Nebraska, and a couple days ago we had some pretty nasty storms roll through. Kind of started southwest of us in Lincoln, but there were tornadoes that kind of came through. Kind of hit the western part of Omaha, which is where I live. I live in the western part of Omaha now. The tornadoes touched down, a couple miles from my house, but the sirens were going off, that whole thing. Yeah. And the wind was, even a couple miles away, the wind was very loud.
I was going to ask that because I've never, despite living in the Midwest, I've never experienced because it was a big tornado, like what, EF3 or something plus?
Yeah.
I've never experienced something of that size out here. So, you don't really notice any difference, I would say. But so it was just exceptionally loud, is what you're saying.
It was like, I've always heard it said that, like, when people, when they were in their basements, the tornado was they're like, oh, it sounded like a freight train was going over the house.
Yes.
So for me, it sounded like a freight train, but the freight train was a little ways off. You know what I mean?
I have heard that as well.
Having grown up, I grew up in over in Council Bluffs in Iowa, and it's there's a lot of rail yards. So at night in the summers, if we had the windows open, I could hear the train yards that were a couple miles away, and it kind of reminded me of that. So it sounded like a train a couple miles away, but you can still hear it because trains are loud.
That's wild.
So that's kind of what it sounded like. It's like a train kind of.
I like that you did that, and then there was no sound that came through the mic. So I just saw you going. Zoom must have magically muted it or whatever.
Zoom.
Nope, nothing there either. No,
I must think it's white noise, so it's canceling it out.
Stupid
but you can enter in the train rushing sound or something. I don't know.
That was terrible in rendition, but
yeah,
that's what
something like that. And then for one of the people that we all know, Blars, Brian Larson.
Yep.
It was actually just a couple blocks from his house.
Wow.
In a different Discord server, we have a local dad group that we get together on Wednesday nights sometimes and play games.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is part of that. And so he posted in that Discord server a screenshot of their Life 360 or Find My iPhone or something like that, where you could see where they were, his little picture on the map, and then he drew an arrow, and it was just a couple blocks away from his house. But it's a nicer part of town, nicer, newer homes just destroyed completely, just ripped apart by this tornado. So
it's nuts, dude.
Yeah. Super sad. Super thankful that no one died. There have been no casualties. Zero.
Wow.
Zero casualties. So super grateful for that. No loss of life, but loss of a lot of property and memories for people. You know what I mean? There's just I think, someone was think about all the stuff in your house. Not all of it has monetary value, but it has a lot of sentimental value.
Yeah. And now it's strewn about Omaha. which is crazy to think about. I did watch, it was a video that had popped up on social media of these two guys in a train, you know, just like one of the modern, I don't know why it would be anything other than a modern electric train engine.
An 1860s coal fire.
So they're sitting in this, you know, train, and the tornado literally goes right over their train. And all the windows in that train are cracked, and they're double paned glass. So like the outer pane is just completely shattered on some of them. And of course, like you think of a train, like that's one of the safer places to be, I would suppose, in such an instance. But it was just nuts because it was super loud across the video. And then just to see the windows and all the stuff as it got closer, just the stuff, right? Like, you know, it's crazy.
And I'm not sure if you saw, there were photos that went with that where on the train, several of the cars got derailed.
Oh, like empty ones or something?
Yeah, I think they were moving empty cars behind them. So at the very end of the video is like, you can hear one of the people in the train say, yeah, we got cars off the track. We ain't going nowhere, or something like that.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, that rail line is just, a couple miles like southwest of me.
Okay.
It's a not too far drive to that rail line where that derailment happened, or the tornado blew over that.
Yeah. Wow. Shiloh, this happens in Tennessee, right? Like you're still in the tornado alley a bit, I would think. And didn't it happen recently, like within the past year, some crazy tornadoes out there?
Yeah. Nothing's hit me, but we've had tornadoes touch down in downtown Nashville before. So
wow.
That's not good. But yeah, generally they'll come through Middle Tennessee, and yeah, it's just part of life, I guess. It's not as bad as hurricanes, so we got that to look forward. Because not only are you dealing with winds and all that, you're dealing with wind and water, which is not good. So
yeah,
and that happened. My first day at Johnson & Wales in Charleston, South Carolina, got canceled because, went to school and then they called off school because of hurricane warnings. So we had 3 hurricane warnings that summer, and none of them touched down in Charleston. But yeah, after Hugo hit, I guess they didn't. Yeah, they didn't take any chances with that. So.
Natural disasters. What can you? Well, you literally can do nothing. That's
true. Can't stop them.
Can't stop.
Fire all the missiles in the world, and I don't think.
Then it just swing it right back at you.
Yeah.
Whip those missiles right back at you.
Well, welcome to episode 33, listener. We hope you are having a good one. You're having, I guess if you're listening to this the morning of release, a good morning. If you're listening to it at night or in the shower or while you're...
Have a good shower. Make sure to scrub good.
Clean everywhere is what you should do.
Yeah, especially after listening to this. So
yeah, I mean, if you soap deep in the ear holes, try and just expunge that.
Yeah. Sponge it out of you.
Purell your brain.
The brain rot that exists because of QTM. That's what Jeff said, our dear friend Jeff, and he'll listen to this and there'll be the slightest of smiles that'll crack across his face. But he was like, yeah, the terrible cheesiness of QTM. That's why I can't stop listening. And we thank you. Jordan, this is the third, I think, board game episode of many to come. You know what? This
Hopefully,
is
unless the show gets canceled on me again. It's happened before, listener.
Let's not start that. And you know what? That was for a good reason. But I'm going to turn.
The good reason is that you didn't want it anymore.
I didn't. That's fair. Sometimes I just don't want to. I'm like, you know what? It's Sunday evening. I just want to sit here and do nothing. Like, I've never related more to Calvin and Hobbes, the dad of Calvin and Hobbes, as he's just sitting there. And Calvin wants to do something, and the dad's just like, Nope. I'm just gonna
I just don't wanna.
just don't wanna. So anyway, I'm going to turn the mic to you. So that was really dumb.
Thank
There's
you.
the cheesiness. Anyway, take us
just
on.
like the cheesy ruffles, it's just they're so good you just can't stop.
You just can't stop. You can't just have one. Isn't that Pringles?
Yeah.
It was like Pringles thing for a bit. They're right.
Once you pop, you just can't stop.
All right. Well, let's pop on over to the board game themed stuff. I'm not even going to apologize for this, because if you're this far into QTM, you've come to expect
Welcome,
it. If
friend.
this is your first episode, I'm
Also,
sorry.
welcome, friend. We're sorry.
Yeah. Well, sort of. We do what we want.
Right. I mean, if at this point, if you're still listening at this point, you're kind of already committed to the whole thing. You know what I mean?
A
Like,
little bit.
if you found it and you got to this point in the episode, you're like, well, I guess let's see what these knuckleheads have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Jordan.
I mean, okay.
Board
So-
game me.
Board game you.
I've been
So I
waiting
guess
for this.
yeah. So I had the opportunity to a couple weeks ago, my daughters had a game night associated with American Heritage Girls,
Okay.
kind of like the Girl Scouts is just the best way I have to explain it.
Okay.
So every year, one of the older girls in their troop gets to plan like a father-daughter activity.
Okay.
So like that's like for one of their like badges or something, they have to plan this father-daughter activity or something like that. So it was a board game night
Nice.
because like their family plays games, and so they had some games there for people to play. They had a couple. They brought like code names like for like older girls to play, and they had some like some of the more mass market stuff there. But I, being a board gamer,
I being
naturally just
Jordan.
loaded up a bag of games and was like, well, we're just gonna bring our own. Let's take more games than we could possibly ever play at this thing.
Yep.
Myself, and it was very much for me. It was like I was loading up to go to one of the ATB cons, But I still remember
You
that
have a
first,
board
that
game
first ATB.
Carrying case
I
for
do
this?
have a BoardGameTables.com case,
Nice.
like carrying bag. I have another one that it's designed to be a cajon carrying case.
Yeah. I remember
You know,
talking about that once upon a
Cajones
time.
happen to be the same width as a standard board game box.
Okay.
Funny enough. So if you want to get a board game carrying case on the cheap, you can get a cajon carrying case from like an online music store.
Hopefully the
And it's-
cajon's not included. Or you have to get
No,
rid
you
of that
don't.
thing.
No, at least with mine, no cajon was included. I could have sat there and like laid down a sick beat like while I played my games if that was the case,
Yeah.
but not so much the case
Okay.
with the case. But yeah, so I took some games. We got to play a few. One of them was called Click Clack Lumberjack.
I've heard of it.
Familiar? So you
Yeah.
build this tree out of, there are like these discs that have little things where you can slide these bark pieces into them.
Okay.
And then you have this little plastic axe, and so you stack the discs up on top of each other. It's like 7 or 8 high. And in the basic game, which is what we played, is every turn. So it's kind of set up a little bit like a Jenga tower kind of thing, like that kind of thing. So you have this little plastic axe, and you get 2 whacks at the tree where you're trying to move it so that bark falls off, because every piece of bark is worth 1 point.
Oh,
To
yeah,
you.
I see. Yep.
But if you knock off one of the big like central discs, that is -5. It's -4 or -5. I don't remember right off the top of my head. So you want to hit hard enough to get like where the bark will slide out and fall down, but you don't want to knock the main thing off. I think it's -5 because if you just knock the whole disc off, you're still net -1.
Okay. I was going to say, like, what's to stop you from just smacking that thing with all your might, but
because
obviously
you would just
you would
load
lose.
up on negative points. Yeah,
if
each one of
this
those
is a
center
golf.
things is worth -5. So
Okay.
so you're kind of like, you'll whack it, and then like another person will try and like, oh, let me, like, I don't want the whole thing to fall on my turn if I whack, so like do like one corrective whack, and then
Gotcha.
So we played that
Yeah.
a couple of times, and like I think I had like 3 dads that were like ordering it on Amazon like as we were sitting there playing it.
That's always a good feeling when you bring a game to something like that, and then everyone's like, I've been looking at Amazon for this, and I put it in my wish list. So
Yep. Yeah. It's a good feeling when like you show like a game that people are like, I had no idea this exists. And then by the end of the night, they're like, all right, it's in the cart, like, or it's going to be,
let's go. I'm buying it right
it's
now.
It's going to be here in 2 days. Like I already ordered it on Prime or whatever. So that was super fun.
Yeah.
Have you guys gotten to play anything recently, board game wise?
So yes, but I was going to turn it to Shiloh because Shiloh, you finished not board game, but you finished something spectacular that you should tell the listener about. Plus Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because this is board game adjacent, and we do love that stuff here.
It's the great board game, create the board game table for 8 people. So we finally finished, and it was probably the biggest table we've ever done, as well as just had the most stuff going on. So
What were the dimensions of that?
96 by 46 or so, like something like that.
That's
is what
big.
It ended up being, yeah.
And it's 3 seated long
It's like
ways and
8
2 at the
feet
end.
long.
Wow. Yeah, what is
So-
that in feet?
8 feet by what? 4?
What's that in meters for our Australian and
I don't know.
Like 2.5 meters.
2.768 by, yeah, I don't know.
okay.
But yeah, it was a large undertaking, gentleman. And if he's listening, I actually told him about the podcast.
Well, if he got past this intro.
Yeah, he's a big board game enthusiast. I told him
Nice.
about the podcast. So I don't know if he's listening, but if you are, hi, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
He's going to take some pictures of
Nice.
him and his mates as our New Zealand and
So big D&D
across
person
the
then,
pond.
I would assume.
D&D board games, yeah, you name it. He plays with his family, plays with pretty much standard group of people I think he's got going on. So
Nice.
but
It'd be
he's
interesting to see what he puts on the table. I want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told him to take some pictures of them actually playing and stuff because I took a bunch of pictures. I posted them on the Loreforged community, but I'll post them in Questing the Multiverse too, so you guys can see. But I'll just post it in the board games
Yeah.
Do it.
form, considering it's technically that would appeal to that
Yeah.
crowd.
Do it,
But
'cause
yeah,
it's
What type of
marketing for
wood?
me, because
same wood that we always use, red grandis, which most people are like, what? Like, yeah. If you were to make it out of oak, you wouldn't be able I don't think 2 people could have lifted this table very easily.
Oh, yeah.
But without the topper parts, we made it completely different. The topper more like just wood panels that nestle in on top of the table.
Gotcha.
And then one of the panels he wanted excessively long so that it would basically be, and the end of the table could act as a dungeon master or a game master's area. So you could fit a DM screen and, notebooks and laptops and whatever you wanted to. You had plenty of room. It's about, by the end of, I think about 20 inches deep.
Okay.
And then it has
That's a desk size, yeah.
it has a little thing that goes down to basically partition the table so that no dice and, meeples and miniatures and stuff can actually get underneath the DM screen. So we kind of blocked off the table. So it cuts down on the actual game size of the table once everything's removed, but it's still it's still long, so I don't think it's really going to matter. But that's what he wanted, and it makes sense that because we've tried other ways of doing it, and it just didn't work out. Like putting an accessory in the slots, just it doesn't hold up. Like that size of a desk or support it just doesn't work. But we made player desks, which kind of go on a saddle and they kind of nestle on top of the rails, so each of the players can have their own little it's plenty big enough to put a laptop or computer, or definitely big enough to put paper or whatever, pamphlets or whatever you need. But then it's got a card thing, you can put cards at the top, and it's got a long routed out area for like pencils and pens and dice and whatever. But it was an undertaking. And
sounds like it.
The biggest part was just engineering those player desks, because we had never done that. And we redesigned the cup holders and the dice trays as well, because we want something a little bit more substantial for this project and then going forward. And we really liked, it's a lot more work, but we really liked the end result. So it's a little bit more streamlined. But yeah, it was but it was really, really good to meet the guy. He was really, really nice, about my age, and has 2 kids, and they still live at home. He's got a big game room in his house, like a huge game room that he's basically just said, I need, and he wanted to hire my dad and I to come out there and look. And he's got a bar set up that he wants to work on, for us to work on, to help him kind of flush that out. And so we've got some work down the road whenever I want. He said no rush. So
well, that's really sweet though, because it's kind of like you did this thing, you did it very well, and now you're getting the opportunity to extend your craft in that direction. So and it was local too, which is our first local pickup for a table. And so hopefully
that's cool.
So hopefully the word will spread, and
well, put it in the Discord, because I knew instantly when you said 96 inches that's 8 feet, because I'm still framing in my basement. And,
there you go. And math.
Used to cut into 96 inches for 8-foot walls. So familiar with that, but once the basement is finished, there will be a place, I've already kind of mapped it out, a place for a board game table, a nice fancy board game table. So when the time comes, I might order one from you and then come down and get it.
Yeah.
So probably get a one-way plane ticket and then rent a truck or something to drive it back, like a U-Haul truck or something.
That could probably work, I guess.
I think that would probably be the best way to do it, because I don't have a truck, and there's no sense in driving the U-Haul truck there empty.
Yeah.
Right.
When
paying for that.
They'll happily rent me a U-Haul truck there.
That you can leave.
Yeah. I found that U-Haul is best when I had to make that shipment to Lexington, Kentucky. Cargo vans and Enterprise and those types of companies are the better way to go if you're having to go large distances. I think U-Haul's more for inner city moving, one day kind of. It just made more sense. They're cheap on the front end, but their mileage is a lot more expensive than
Well, I guess you can also advise me on what kind of vehicle to rent to.
It just depends on what size of table you want. This guy's table would have needed
7 inches.
He wants to go. He's like the wide receiver, the NFL wide receiver. He's like, how much did that guy get paid? I want $1 million more. That's
I just need it 100 inches.
I need 100
Goodness.
inches.
That'd be nuts.
No, I don't need anything crazy like that. I think I was looking at a 6x4.
Yeah. He also threw out the idea of us possibly entertaining the idea of maybe making an octagonal table. That's a thing.
I'm thinking rectangular.
For a poker table for you or with this guy?
No, he just threw that out there because it does offer a lot more seating per surface area. Like you can get a lot more people around a table that's an octagon, up to 8 people comfortably rather than spread out on a rectangle. But it doesn't really lean towards the idea of what we're doing. But I think as far as what a gamer would want, maybe that could be a possibility. But
that'll be fun getting an 8-foot table inside a house.
Yeah, I don't know how he did it. I mean, it took us a good portion of energy to get it up on his landscaping truck. But yeah, it's not that heavy. That's one reason why we made it with red granite.
The material you use.
Yeah, because it's sturdy. It's not like pine. Like it's not real soft and malleable, but it is much softer and not as sturdy as oak, which is super heavy.
Oak would have been expensive too, I feel like.
Yeah, it's also expensive, but it can be, especially white oak. But yeah, it's definitely very, very heavy. So we had to kind of take that in mind when we shipped stuff.
Yeah,
so
because I am no master woodworker by any means, but I did build our current dining room table by myself from some plan I found on the internet.
Nice.
A while ago.
Nice.
It's been it's like 8 years ago, I think I built that thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of like a farmhouse, like that kind of whatever, but it's 8 feet long and it's a bear to move.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Well, I did not do anything.
That's the only board game I played.
Making tables.
Woodworking.
Table assembly.
There's probably a board game in the works about that theme right there. How do we make the perfect board game table?
Yep. In the video game world, there's a power simulator. There's a sim for everything. So eventually there'll be
goat simulator,
or
crafting board game.
What's that? The one game, Millennium Blades.
Yes, that or like you talked about the fashion show one.
Yeah,
I think of Lignum as like an example of something that's like
it'll be like a sequel game to Lignum. So you play Lignum to harvest the wood, and then once you have that, then you can turn it into like Last Will and Prodigals Club.
Oh no! Well, I won't be playing that.
Are you familiar with
Nope.
the Last Will and the Prodigals Club?
No.
So Last Will is a game I have. It's set in like Victorian England, but it's basically like you're playing like Brewster's Millions, the game.
Okay.
Like the rule book starts with your wealthy uncle has died. Hooray!
As most things do.
So
Goodness.
So the game, like it's set in like Victorian England. So it's like you all have like this wealthy uncle who died and is going to leave you all his money.
Okay.
But you get the money if you can show like the executor of the estate that you can live life to the fullest. So you all are set with a start amount of money, and the first person to lose all their money wins the game.
That's fascinating.
So you can do stuff like, it's like you can throw parties and stuff like that. You can buy real estate, but so it's like you would buy a house and then there are mechanics where you can basically trash the house.
Okay.
So like you want to buy high and sell low.
So just like completely opposite mindset.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's
fascinating. And so you're trying to lose the first person to be completely broke. Because like, yeah, if you buy something and then you're like, oh, I'm going to sell this house at a loss, you get that money back. So you're getting money and you're like, no, I don't want money.
Yeah. Can I give it away for free?
Right. So that's the game. And so then the Prodigals Club was like a sequel game to that. So it was like, it's like that aspect of it. It's like a watered down version of it in the Prodigals Club. But there's also something like a political campaign. And there's like something with like your job where you're trying to get fired from your job too. But there's like a variant in the rules where you can play Last Will as the finance part of that game. So you can like merge the two games together.
That sounds nuts. But to your idea
it's
here.
super fun. I have Last Will and I've always wanted to get Prodigals Club. Like I love the
concept
like
here.
The concept of like lose all the money, get rid of all your money.
I do like that. To your idea of Lignum being a precursor to this board game, table making board game, I'm going to take this a step further, and it segues into the games that I've played. Well, the game I played recently. I played Photosynthesis for the first time.
Okay.
Now I want to ask you, Jordan, how long do you think that game should take for 4 players?
Uh-oh. I don't like where this question's going.
I'm curious. What's your opinion here?
A 4-player game.
4-player game of photosynthesis. Yes.
Okay. I mean, new people. An hour and some change
For 4 players.
I think. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's. I think it's supposed to be a lighter weight game.
So tell me, Jordan, why did this take us from 7:30 to 10:45 to play this game of photosynthesis?
That's a bad break, my friend. That's a bad break.
So let me paint this picture for you. And, you know, the game itself is fine, right? Like, I think the mechanics are fun. What I was going to say to your Lignum point is that photosynthesis would be like the prequel to Lignum, and then Lignum is the middle game, and then you've got Shiloh Walt's board game making table
I
board
think
game.
you can do that with
table making board game.
the Raiders of the North.
So yes, yeah, I think you're right.
I think there is there's a sequential thing where you can combine all 3 games.
Yeah. Well, photosynthesis.
So you go from a light game to a pretty darn heavy game in Lignum, and then TBD
Dessert.
on the Shiloh's table making extravaganza.
Yeah, fitting 8-foot tables into houses. That's the end game right there. No, so photosynthesis took us from like 7:30ish to 10:30, 10:45 for one game, one full. I think it's 4 rounds or 4 or 5 things where the sun goes around and hits that spot. Okay. In the time it took us to play that whole game one time, another table of people played Thunder Road Vendetta, the Chrome version, twice at 4 and 5 players. So when you think about this is photosynthesis is a game about growing trees. There's a sunlight mechanic.
BGG says 30 to 60 minutes.
I don't know what we did wrong, but it took
Well, hold on.
forever.
I think you might have.
We had to have messed up a rule or something.
I'm trying to find the rule book online. Keep talking. I'll find it
The
and I'll tell you what you did wrong.
scores of the game, I want to say, were like in the 90s. Like, I think the highest score was like 115. The second place is like 108. And then third and fourth were like 97, 96. That might be right. So anyway, listener, if you've never heard of this game, you have these little cardboard standees of trees, and they're in various degrees of growth. You've got like a little tree, you've got this little seed token, and then you've got this little tree, a medium tree, and then a big tree. And there's a sun marker that moves around this, board, and that determines which direction the sunlight's coming from. And so if you obviously have a tall tree in the path of the sun, and behind it a small tree, that small tree doesn't get sun, and sunlight is a currency that you get to build and buy things. And so as you play seeds to the board and then you grow them into trees, the seeds have to have a spot on your purchase board in order to get not be destroyed, like just so you can use it again in the future. So very simple game, honestly, because you're really just looking at where you plant your trees, and then where to grow them based on where the sun is going to be. And to be fair, as you said, we did have 3 new players. So the one person teaching it played it before, and then there was myself who was new and 2 other new players. One guy's newer to board games, but then the third guy, I think he just really was like over analyzing the turn or just really analyzing like the best optimal move. And he did get second place, so I got last, if that tells you anything. So, but yeah, so anyway, the option was I could have played that or Thunder Road Vendetta. We've got tornado sirens going off. So,
there?
Yeah.
Currently?
Yes, I'm sure it will be fine.
So this is timely.
This is time. We just talked about this. I'm going to text the wife, take the kids downstairs, call me if it is actually going to be a tornado, and I'm going to keep recording. She's probably going to walk in here as I'm sending this text. I just sent you a text. Okay. We do it live at Questing the Multiverse, baby. It's always something with these board game episodes.
Yeah.
There's always something.
Anyway, so that was Photosynthesis. And like I said, the other table was playing Thunder Road Vendetta. And I took I'm not going to say hit because the new guy, new to board games and, in general, he said he's like, I think I like this speed of game rather than what was going on at the Thunder Road table because it's a little more like not simple, but, there's not as much to pay attention to. Thunder Road Vendetta has a lot of PvP type stuff going on.
So what was... Your scores were all in the 90s?
90s to, I think, like 96 to 115.
You had to have played too many rounds.
Okay.
Because I've played multiple times, and the highest score I've ever seen is 75.
I don't know. I just know it took way too long.
The highest score I've ever... How many rounds did you play?
Well, it was like the tiles, right? The 4 or 5 tiles or whatever it is that you remove?
No, the sun goes around 3 times.
Okay, we might have done 4 or 5 times, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, everyone gets 18 turns because it's 6 spots on the sun.
Yeah.
And so it goes around 3 times. So yeah.
Well, now I know.
That's just like you were like 90 something. I was like, hold on,
hold on.
That's scores... a high scoring affair.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my board gaming experience recently. This episode will come out on a Monday. 4 days from then, I will have another board game night. And so next time we have an episode, actually I'll have 2. So talk about what?
So I guess.
Oh yes.
What would you? On the old no cube zone rating scale, give your wrong play of photosynthesis.
What was is it 7 or 6 is the max? I'm not going to give it a max score. I just need to know where 6. I need to. Okay, 6.
0 to 6.
And well, this is a good time. What is the no cube rating scale for new listeners or non no cube listeners?
Yeah, anyone. No Cube Zone listeners, Questing the Multiverse listeners, if you're an old GG party chat person who stumbled into this and was like, hey, I wonder what those knuckleheads are up to, welcome. Or if you're just like someone who, I don't know, somehow stumbled into this podcast and are still here.
As Coniff checks
You can keep going.
Let's see if we can get a live tornado view from Coniff.
I'll watch your window.
No.
And
What's
if
more
it breaks, then I'll let you know.
I think I'll know.
A 0 would be the tornado leveling Coniff's house.
That's a pretty terrible experience.
A 0 is a pretty terrible experience in a board game. Mm-hmm. A 6 is like, this is a contender for one of your favorite games of all time. Back in the old No Cube Zone days, I think we had 2 games where we all gave it a 6.
Which would have been Everdell
and...
Stockpile, maybe?
It might have been Stockpile.
Why can't they reprint that? I don't want to get on a tangent, but...
That's in the vault for them. Do you have it or no?
No. Someday I will acquire it, which is another board game. Anyway, I would say...
So back in those days, the old if the three of us gave it a 6, I think we had a little Iron Maiden stinger that played, which was just great.
That was back when I didn't care about copyright. Now I do. YouTube always flags these episodes.
I don't think would you get flagged for a stinger that's like 3 seconds long?
Stranger things have happened, Jordan. So we'll see. I don't have it on the board, but this is not getting a 6. So they'll just bury the lead there.
Go ahead.
Because the experience itself, like mechanically, I enjoy it. It's not, and thematically, it's fine. But like for me, this is probably a solid 3, as far as like what I would like if I'm presented with that as an option and there's all these other games, like I'm gonna play one of the other games, I think. Unless that other game is Lignum or Castles of Burgundy, if that's on the table.
God, why do you got to take a
But if it's the collector's edition of Castles of Burgundy, I might actually play that because it looks decent.
Live again. The second printing of that is live right now on GameFound.
That's for you, listener, because I'm not doing it.
Or Coniff can go back. This pretty deluxe version of Castles of Burgundy. Or
Shiloh, you can Shiloh. No, don't do it. Don't be swayed. He's impartial here. He's the
Yeah, I'm listening to all parties until
it looked cool on one of your tables.
He's just waiting for my window to blow open.
Yeah, eyes like a hawk. Yeah, I don't know about this Castles of Burgundy thing. So
it's a super fun game, and now they have a pretty version of it, so it can look as good as the gameplay is.
So what you're saying is it'll look good in photographs.
Exactly.
That actually would be the case if you were to get one of your tables and set the deluxe. It is a collector's edition, right?
And gamers who have taste like the game or its gameplay.
People will
and
recognize
the pretty version
on your Etsy for sure.
If you're getting it for your business, you can write it off.
Pops, yeah, I guess.
I mean, I'm saying if you're getting it for marketing for your tables, that's a write-off, my friend.
It's true.
I am not an IRS licensed.
I am not a lawyer, but
I'm
not telling you how. I'm not giving you professional tax advice. But if you are buying it for your business for marketing purposes, I think you can write that off. Just saying. Well. Anyways, for me, Photosynthesis was in my collection. It no longer is. It was okay. To put it in Simpsons terms, it's a perfectly cromulent game. So it's a 3 for me. Like, would I play it again if someone's like, "Oh my gosh, we got to play Photosynthesis"? Yeah, I'd play it. But in a world of amazing games, like, don't really have time for like a meh game for me in my collection. It might be a 6 for someone out there. I think I was looking at BGG that some folks had it rated as a 10.
The more games I play, the less.
462 people have that bad boy rated at a 10.
And all 462 of those were given within 2 months of the game releasing, probably.
March of 2024. This person said, one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. See the forest grow in front of your eye. That must be a pirate.
It must be a Cyclops.
Always had one eye.
Must be that. That was going to be spoiler alert for Fallout.
December of 2023.
Held off.
There's a beautiful emergent symmetry wherein the game end, at least for us, resembles the start. I display this one on my shelf in a way to show off the gorgeous art.
Which is fair, I suppose. What about a 1-star rating?
Oh boy,
those are always just cracked.
Those are always fun. It's a time honored no cube zone slash question the multiverse tradition. We always go read the 1-star reviews.
Yeah.
So this person written in October of 2022 wanted to like this because the table presence is great. Gameplay was just meh for me and it didn't have much replay value. So it left the collection after only a few plays. That does not sound like a 1 to me. From my understanding of
I would
one,
agree
a 1
with
is like
that.
you loathe it.
That's like a solid 4 out of 10.
Yeah, like you're saying it's a meh. So that's another person said poo.
That's what we like for these.
No, that's a 1-star review. If you think it is poo, yes.
Yeah, it's either got to be utter nonsense mixed with bad grammar and or
Some tangent.
current slang, in some capacity for it to be an accurate 1-star review.
Yeah.
We once in Discord, Jordan, we were just looking at restaurants and pick a random town in the USA, and we were looking for all the 1-star reviews of those restaurants, and it was
very insightful.
very insightful.
My favorite thing to do, and maybe we can just do this sometime on the show, is we'll whip up Amazon.com and find products and read those 1-star reviews. People just if you can find one that someone wrote in all caps, those are the best.
What we should do is each come up with 5 board games that we like, that we would, play. And then that's what we do, is we go through and find all the terrible reviews of each of those. That'd be fun.
Or I can do it. I'll get the reviews, I'll read them, and then you guys have to guess the game.
Oh, that'd be fun too. So
this could be like a mid-year like game show while we wait for the eBay game to come back at Christmas.
Yes. the joyous eBay game. So that's Photosynthesis, a solid 3 out of 6 on the No Cube Zone rating scale.
Let's see if you can guess the game. Oh, we'll play real fast now.
Okay, this is a teaser.
Thematic and funny for 5 seconds, then the randomness and player elimination kicks in. Felt a lot like the worst parts of Munchkin and Bang, but with more interesting cards.
I'm not that dumb. I know it's Wiz War.
Dang it.
But I realize, Shiloh will probably know none of these, and I
didn't find a game in this.
It's there, I promise. No, but what's fascinating is my board game knowledge of recent stuff is lacking. But
I would probably pick bigger name stuff for it. I'm not going to be like, ha ha ha, let me get this obscure game that came out in 1997 that only 17 people have actually played on BGG. Ha ha ha. No, that's not fun.
That's right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's all right. I'll just guess Chutes and Ladders. So
Chutes and Ladders. Maybe I should throw in a couple of those mass market. We'll throw Monopoly and Candyland in there and just see.
Don't break the ice. That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the game I kind of wanted to talk about more is my review a la the No Cube Zone.
Okay.
Rest in peace.
Oh, not. Nope, there it is.
Really. Oh, dear.
But this one is... Oh, it's a tornado warning. I'm sorry, listeners.
That means there's a funnel somewhere.
Yeah. I don't hear the freight train, so...
Break.
I'm not going to...
Break for...
Let me look out the window. You can keep talking.
Okay.
About your game.
Well, I'm also going to look up Ozark weather.
I don't know. No freight train.
No, a cat just flew by your window, by the way.
So you need to No. It's really not even that windy. And if you were saying that miles away, the wind was just wild, I don't know.
Yeah, it was
just annoying. Those sounds are so goodness.
It should be a restaurant.
They should say if you have access to a train engine, you should get inside that.
If you hear a train, go to your basement.
Okay.
Anyways, the game that I want to talk about and kind of like review is a game called Tiny Towns.
Okay. I have.
Have either of
Yes.
you had the chance to play Tiny Towns?
No.
No, I'm gonna look it up though.
Okay.
Continue.
So it is kind of to the last board game episode, it is more of like an entry level game. So in the game there are I think it's 6 or 7 different building types. And they are variable based on like there are like so in the box you'll get the base game you'll get for all but one, like you'll have like the little green buildings, and there are 4 different cards for the little green building that give the green building different rules in the game.
Okay.
So there's like a green one, there's like a orange one, a yellow one, different color buildings. So each card is going to have a layout of cubes and kind of like a Tetris shaped piece.
Okay.
So on your turn, on any of our turns, so the 3 of us were playing, I would pick one of the 5 cube colors. There's like blue, red, yellow, gray, and brown. So I would say blue. And then we all have to, on our 4x4, it's a 4x4 grid. So you have 16 squares. I'll pick up one of those cubes, that color. So I said blue. You all have to pick up blue and put it on your board somewhere.
Okay.
Whether you want to use it or not. I have picked the card that I'm going to try and build this building. And then it would be Shiloh's turn, and he would say, I need yellow. And so then we'd all have to put a yellow cube on our board somewhere. So your game is over. Do you hear a train?
What?
Yes? No? Do you hear a train?
I don't know. You can keep going. If I just vanish, I'm gonna let it keep recording. But
Okay.
then you'll know something's up.
Yeah.
So don't be
Anyways,
alarmed.
So once you have like the layout, like one of the simple buildings is like just an L of like a cube, 3 cubes. Of course there are cubes, because it has to, because it's me. But it's like once you have that done, you can say, okay, if it's Conniff's turn and he says red, and I put the red cube on there, and I've built that. Okay, I say, okay, I'm gonna construct whatever building it is. So it could be like the cottage or the whatever. And so then you're trying to like use like because the cards can combo like with each other. Because like the cottage is only worth points if it says it's like fed. So if there's like a farm that you have built somewhere along the thing, and it is like the game we played today, we played it today, so it'd be nice and fresh in my brain. So the farm, any cottage in the same column or row or column as the farm was considered fed, so it would score.
Okay.
I'm nodding my head like I heard like all of that, and I definitely didn't.
Right. So it's a 16 by 16, or not a 16, but a 4 by 4. So you got 16 squares. So once you build a building, that square is no longer available for you to put resources on. So it gets tighter and smaller as you go.
Okay.
But there are different buildings. Like there's one, it's like the warehouse where it's like this black building, and it's like once you build that, you get to pick 3 colors from the middle pool, and put it on your little warehouse. And then if someone says some color and you don't want to use that color, you can basically take one of your colors off of the warehouse and play it and put the bad one that they said onto the warehouse.
Okay.
So like the warehouse is a place where you can like sock the cubes that you don't want to use. Because once you have filled all your squares with either cubes or buildings, you're done. And then any square that doesn't have a building is a -1 at the end. And everyone will get a pink castle. So everyone has a unique card. So everyone's got like a unique like player ability, and there's like a ton of those in the box. The reason why I wanted to play it is because I backed a Kickstarter a while ago from the publisher AEG, where you could they've made a new expansion, but you could also get 2 of their older expansions in that as well.
Okay.
And they were much cheaper than like retail even. So
I'm
we
looking
got a few.
at it at BGG, and I think
Yeah.
this is one that Eric, our friend Eric, has been a fan of.
Yeah, it seems like an Eric game.
Yeah. It's 4.8 user ratings out of 1,500, over 1,500 on Amazon. So got almost 5 stars.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fun. It's lighter, so it's not too hard, but there are some like harder cards that you can throw in there or you can take out. It's another one where we actually played it back during like the lockdowns during the pandemic,
Okay.
where my wife's sister and her husband had a copy of the game. And so we just like would set up on a Zoom call. And if you just say, okay, we've got this card, this card, this card, this card, this card, they would just get those same cards out of the box. And then we just sit there with the computers like on our boards and just say, okay, blue. And then everyone has to get a blue.
Nice. Okay.
So it's one that it's fun because you can play like remotely.
Yeah. I like the look of it. It does seem very like quick to play too. This would be a good one for a workplace lunch, perhaps.
It would. If you can get your hands on it, I would recommend it for like your group,
Yeah.
like your guys that you get together with. I don't know if Eric would loan it out to you or
If
show
he
up to
even
this
has
group
it still.
ever.
Yeah. I need to invite him to it.
And here's your chance. Say, hey, Eric.
Hey, we need
come
you
on
for
over.
Tiny Town. No.
Come on over, meet my friends, and bring Tiny Towns.
If I don't get blown away by a tornado.
Yeah,
I don't think
don't do
it'll
that.
happen. No. Okay, so Tiny Towns. On a
So
go on.
I was just gonna say we played with one of the expansions. I didn't use the other one, but there is an expansion called Fortune.
Okay.
So in that, you have this little like chest little thing that you can accumulate these coins on. How you get the coins is if you build 2 buildings simultaneously. So you know how I said like if you made the little L, and then once you say, okay, I have enough to build the cottage, you just take that off and then you place the cottage. I forgot, the cottage has to go on one of the 3 squares where your resources were placed. Like whenever you build a building, it has to go on one of the squares where your resources were placed. So you would get one of these coins that you can store up to 4 coins if you build 2 buildings at a time, which means you're going to have a lot of squares filled in with cubes.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
He's so tired.
I know.
Being a dad,
Well,
I get it.
Yeah, being a dad, and I did film a wedding yesterday and was up late.
Yeah, it's like a
doing that.
12-hour day or more.
Yeah.
14 hours.
Yeah, that was a long day. Anyways, enough excuses. Talking about board games, gosh darn it. So if you can build 2 buildings at the same time, you get one of these coins to stash on this little board. The coins are worth a point at the end of the game. And you can also exchange the coin at any time if the 3 of us were playing and Coniff said yellow, and I'm like, the last thing I need is another yellow, I can spend a coin to take whatever color I want instead of a yellow.
Is that and how many coins do you get again?
You can store up to 4, but you get a coin every time you build 2 buildings simultaneously.
Okay.
Or if you do what I did, and like my special building that I had was once you build it, you get a coin for the number of the most common building in your town at that time.
Okay.
So I spent down all my coins. I built that, and I had 4 of one building type in my town. So as soon as I built that building, I immediately got 4 more coins. And the best part about a player power was when everyone looks at you and goes, "What?" I'm like, I build this and I get 4 coins, and everyone goes, "What?"
What?
Like, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds neat.
So it's super fun. I love Tiny Towns. For me, I am going to, on the no cube zone scale, the 0 to 6.
This is what I was going to ask. Yes.
Yes, I know. I got ahead of you, and then I kept talking.
This is the way, Jordan. It always has been.
So, I mean, the fact that it's got cubes, that's an instant like plus 0.5 in the rating. And
Isn't it like a negative, though? Because it is the no cube zone. Even though we determined at this point it's a, an oxymoron or whatever.
It's me.
It is
It's
you.
me. I am the cube apologist.
It's like the darkness and the light, the traveler from destiny. I'm the traveler, and you're the darkness.
I thought you were going with the force.
We could do that if that's your preferred IP.
And Shiloh is just the gray Jedi.
According to George Lucas,
we're in
Grey
gray.
Jedi aren't a thing.
I don't care.
I'm
what
neither
George
here
Lucas
nor
has
there.
to say.
He's $4 billion richer because of selling his IP to the mouse.
Yeah, he sold it. He don't get a say anymore. I'll ask Dave Filoni if there's Grey Jedi or not. He'll tell me.
That's too bad. What is it though on a scale of 0 to 6, which is a 7-point rating scale? That was that's why I said 6. I couldn't remember because that was the whole thing. Is that it's a 7-point scale, but it's 0
0 to
like,
6.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really give zeros. On BGG, you cannot give a 0.
But no cube zone, you can. That's why we're greater. What is it?
Are
Is
we
this
though?
I'm gonna guess you're gonna pick a 4, maybe a 5, but I don't think you'd go full blown 6, right?
No, it's not a 6.
So 5 for you.
Yeah, it's gonna be a 5 for me. It's super fun because as long as you don't play with the wrong rules, it goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
That's a photosynthesis joke. Callback, listener, callback.
Gotta pay attention to the rules. Yeah.
If you missed it, go back a little ways and listen to Connor talk about his.
It was somewhere between first learning of the tornado siren and the warning going off. You'll find it. Yeah, we promise. No, of course they remember that. But yeah, so a 5 out of
5.
6.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's one that you can teach like your family who doesn't really play board games. It's super light,
Okay.
but there's enough meat on the bone to like kind of get that scratch of like, who taught me this game the very first time? Tiny Towns. Who taught me this game?
It wouldn't have been Eric. I'm gonna
Morgan
guess
Freeman.
No, it was
Morgan
not.
Freeman. Yeah, he's just
It was.
walked.
I mean,
waltzed
that would have
into
been
Omaha.
cool. Like just like Morgan Freeman's like sweet.
I feel like it's one of
Sweet
the
tones,
3:
like-
Andy England, Blars, or Moses or Jake.
Nope.
It would not a Dan Smith
Nope,
teach,
nope.
was it?
Nope, it was not. It was Clef.
Wow, I'm
Clef
shocked.
taught me this game, and Clef
Of Punchboard
owns it.
Paradise, the
Yeah, it's
infamous.
Clef of Punchboard Paradise, the infamous like war gamer.
Yeah, heavy Euro.
Has a bunch of GMT. I mean, it's not. He's gone past Euros. Like he's like
I can't do it.
he's like Lignum would be like light.
Straight grognard these days, then.
He's getting there.
Oh,
He's getting
boy.
there. But yeah, like Age of Steam and like all these like super like thinky GMT war games.
Okay. Yeah.
That's where Clef lives. But I think he still has Tiny Towns. And he was the one who actually taught me this game. So fun for all gamers, I think, Tiny Towns. So listener, if this sounds anywhere remotely interesting to you, I would recommend that you go check it out. From what I can see, it is about $35 on Amazon.com, which is where most of us get our things. There's a couple of game stores that have it for a little bit cheaper.
Yeah. It's an older game though, so it's not like I've noticed that my local game stores typically it's the new stuff is what's on display, and then they've got a wall of games that have been out for a while, but I don't think I've ever seen Tiny Towns there. I haven't. I guess I went like a few weeks ago, and I was looking at the board games. But 1-star rating, Jordan. Then we can close out the episode before my power goes out, because that's what is the real danger here. And then
we're either gonna the power's gonna go out, or Coniff's gonna run out of money to pay for all of his hosting. This is the second class treatment that the board games still get. I know first the No Cubes got canceled, and then we always record on the last episode of the month, so it's like, hey, we're out of storage, shut up.
No, but
stop talking about these board games that no one cares about.
This isn't a problem, but there have been a lot of either lengthy episodes, or there was like a 5-week month, a 5 Monday month, because it's when you actually, it doesn't even matter, it's when you upload it to the podcast hosting site. So listener, if you want to get into podcasting, you're going to be paying for it. So that's what is this these 1-star ratings of Tiny Towns.
We got a couple. Let's see, one
Nothing
person said
quite as poetic as poo.
Nothing. No. One person said, I hate factory combo. I'm not sure what they're on about there. Cloister wasted my time. Write more clearly. Well, someone's just mad at a rule.
That's, man, I want to know how angry you have to be to just get on a website for this game, log into your, unless you're on this already every day, log into your account, find the game, and consciously choose that and then type that.
Rail on a rule on a card. Someone said, incredibly dull game, too solitaire for my taste. The player elimination can be annoying if you get eliminated early and the game drags on for the others. I don't really feel that. It's not like player elimination. Like, you're not being eliminated, you're just running out of space. Like, you've just finished your game. Yeah. It even says in there, once you finish, you can just start scoring your own board. Like, the game encourages you to, like, hey, while these other guys finish up real quick, go ahead and score yourself, and then just move on with your life. Like, it's okay. Like, this person, I don't think I'm confused. I just don't like it. It rakes on me. I don't think that means what you think it means.
Yeah, I don't.
Rakes.
No, I know. I'm trying to.
Yes, I know.
I'm trying to figure out what they meant.
It's kind of like
maybe it reeks. Maybe they bought it secondhand. It's full of cigarette smoke or something.
I think it's kind of like in the Princess Bride. You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it does.
I love that. Yes. So that was all for 1 stars. It, as Shiloh said on Amazon, it is a very highly rated game. Amazon's always hard, though.
Are there any Amazon 1-star reviews?
There was one, but it wasn't worth the
airtime.
Yeah, it wasn't funny.
Don't give the devil any airtime, but we do give 1-star reviews the airtime, for sure. Okay, so Tiny Towns. I appreciate your insight, Jordan. You're kind of my. Oh, I think we're done being concerned about the tornado in this house because kids have come back up the stairs. Oh, but here's a siren. Good. So,
nope.
What's going down? I have no. Yeah, march back down the stairs.
Up, down.
In fact, one of my daughters is, for some reason. Well, I guess it's not completely. No reason, but she's terrified of tornadoes. So terrified, in fact, that she wanted to do nothing but watch tornado videos from Omaha on social media. And the face that she would make, she'd watch this, and this is a young kid, right? The face she would make, like she's watching, and she's like, and all it is just, a far off video of the tornado. And I'm like, truly, as Yoda would say, truly wonderful the mind of a child is.
Yeah. Maybe she's terrified so much that she's intrigued and then she'll just be the next meteorologist.
Maybe. Storm chaser. She is the type of one that would 100% chase a tornado once she got over that fear.
She's going to be a storm chaser one day.
That'd be an exciting career for her. All right. Well,
You
listener.
can make that face in real life. As an adult.
It was this weird sense of.
You'll just be like Bill Paxton.
Jordan's mic just gave up. It's like, yeah, episode's done. I'm out.
I'm out.
Dropped it.
Her face was like the mixture of just when you can't look away from something terrible. It's like this. But you're really trying to get a look at
But
it.
she's driving her like storm chasing mobile like tank thing that they all drive around.
This is why you should watch this episode on
Yeah, you
the
can't
YouTube.
get that on audio. I'm sorry.
But you at least got a very, unless you heard the warning sign or sound go off, right? So it would have hit through.
You could hear it
that doesn't matter because I'm
faintly.
recording my
It
mic
was
direct.
it was
so,
it was audible.
yeah. Zoom
Didn't filter that out. Thanks, Zoom.
it knows it's
There
like
you go.
that's an emergency. We need to
We
keep
need to
that,
keep that in.
Okay, well, listener, we thank you for spending some time with us. Jordan, do you have any final thoughts before I cue the outro?
I don't know. Stop giving the board game episodes second class citizen status.
I thought you were gonna pull a Shiloh loves. It's the Onyx the Fortuitous YouTube dude. He's always like, I don't know, Satan's pretty cool, but in this instance, obviously,
No.
I know, not that, but I'm just saying that's his line. But Shiloh would have been like, I don't know, Tiny Towns pretty cool. So anyway, it's a meme. Listener, we thank you for hanging out and listening to three yahoos talk about board games, tornadoes. I think there was a whole lot of wood discussion going on today. How's wood designed? Get your wood on. That's his
Yep.
tagline. I don't know if you knew that,
Yep.
Jordan.
Crawl underneath it for a tornado. It'll help you.
All right.
Okie
well,
dokie.
just remember,
Okie
just
dokie.
remember, everyone. Special teams, special plays, special players.
Questing the Multiverse is brought to you in part by Coniff Productions, House Wood Designs, and Joel Crawford. To follow along with our adventures, please follow us on Twitter at QTM Podcast and consider joining our Discord, a link of which can be found in the show notes or in our Twitter bio. Want your questions or comments read on the show? Email us at questingthemultiverse@gmail.com. Finally, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider giving us a review or a follow wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for listening.